buenas noches. Estoy un poquito nerviosa. I'm a little nervous, so I did bring my notes up just in case. So gracias. All right. Gracias. All right. Tranquilos. All right, here we go. See, the tools in our toolbox. Saying goodbye to apartment 104. September 2018, Charlotte, North Carolina. Hurricane Florence blew into the Queen City. What was a difficult time for some ended up being a wonderful life gift for me. A Category 4 storm brought into my life a fantastic man with a little help from a dating app I'm forever indebted to, Bumble. There's always a calm after the storm. As Hurricane Florence made her exit, I too made mine. And I found myself on my third-floor balcony a little while later, involved in a late-night conversation. Late night being 10 p.m. for this Spanish teacher, who's usually winding down at such a time. You see, earlier that day, a handsome Virginia born and raised gentleman's profile on Bumble caught my attention. His kind eyes and gorgeous smile intrigued this dark-haired, blue-eyed New York City girl. Nueva York. After exchanging a few private messages, I invited him to give me a call in true Shelly fashion. That September evening, while I was enjoying a gentle breeze from my balcony, the phone rang. It was then that I heard the voice of the man who would ultimately become one of my favorite humans. His name was William. We spoke of places we lived and places we traveled to. I cannot recall what else, but our free spirits rather quickly connected. About 20 minutes into our phone call, I suddenly heard my voice coming out of the speaker on his cell phone. Again, that was my voice coming out of the speaker on his cell phone. What are the odds? I'd really love to know. Apparently, he was just returning from a meetup group. My first impulse, it was to walk to the balcony's edge, lean over, and yell down a hey. He looked up in surprise and responded with a hey. I proceeded to announce I'm coming down and made my way down to the sidewalk in front of our apartment complex. Turns out he lived in the same 6-building apartment complex as I did. Building 6511 to be precise, the same building. He on the first floor in apartment 104, and my son Jared and I on the third floor. And in true rom-com fashion, my son Jared was the first resident he met 3 months prior. I'm not sure if we decided on an afternoon run date that evening or the following day. But what I am confident of is that I'm so grateful to have sat out on my balcony and opened up my soul again to love. We were in our 40s when our paths crossed and joined. He was, for me, the only man I'd ever loved going to sleep alongside or waking up next to. He was the calm in my storm. You see, a few years prior, I had traversed quite the storm when I left an unhealthy 17-year marriage. But with William, this was my first time being in love, and boy, did we love each other. I love how he would make our bed daily, military style, as he had been, exactly, sexy, okay, as he had his former army, or how he would kiss my forehead ever so gently. We'd always say goodbye or hello with a kiss, and being true fitness junkies that we are, we had the occasional plank contest. Yep. We would sit by the pool at our apartment complex and have conversations about growing up in the church, about podcast, justice issues, politics, and he being a foodie, of course, food. One birthday, he took me out to dinner, and I was wearing this sexy black jumpsuit and some red high heels. Yes, he's 5'8" and I'm 5'7", and well, I had worn heels before on dates, but at this time, I'd gotten into my head thinking about our height difference, and I was like, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I changed to flats. But the next morning, he asked why had I changed my shoes. He said that he didn't like that, and that I worked so hard to stay in shape, I should never make myself smaller to make someone else feel better. Hell yeah. Yep, we loved and we liked each other quite a bit, at least as well as the tools in our toolboxes would allow. He challenged this single, divorced mother of two to believe in herself again. I stood by him during his lowest of lows. He allowed for me to heal from mine. He celebrated all of my accomplishments, whether it be running a few marathons while we were together or earning my North Carolina teaching license, which, by the way, I failed an exam multiple times by 1 point to earn that North Carolina teaching license, and he mourned my defeats along with me. I reminded him that all of his hard work would pay off in his pursuit of a new career. I celebrated the manner in which he never gave up, and he would buy a meal for anyone who approached him, no matter what his circumstances. His persistence and his kindness are two of his most attractive qualities, and that's saying a lot because he was incredibly handsome. The reaching of our career goals, damn COVID, and family responsibility took us to different cities. We tried long distance for quite some time, but in the end, it seemed best to move forward as friends. And in truth, it was my decision to move forward as friends. That's life. I said goodbye to the man from apartment 104 who held my heart ever so gingerly. Letting go of someone you love to laugh or cry with or just be with is hell. Letting go of the hopes and futures of what could be, it sucks. But I believe a few of our life circumstances helped us prepare for the hard. I'm a mother of a son who has autism, as well as a son at age 16 who was unexpectedly diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I'm familiar with how loving involves suffering and the grief of what could be. And quite apropos for October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I had breast cancer in 2015 when I had bilateral mastectomy and radiation. It was at that time I learned that we often need to pivot. And my life was forever altered after that. My William, he too knows what it means to pivot and love wholeheartedly. He's experienced the cruelty of Alzheimer's disease in the life of his dear dad, who passed last November. He and his sisters, they carried out the true act of love, at least in my opinion, by being caregivers for their dad prior to his passing. Love, loyalty, compassion, those were tools he gathered during that time, and he grew them in spades. Also, prior to our meeting, he was a medic in the United States Army for 22 years. He gathered such tools as bravery and persistence, yet his ability to be mission-minded was a blessing and a curse in our relationship. I'll forever be grateful for his service and the compassionate man that he was, who showed me to love again when I might have given up on it. Thank you, Bumble, and thank you, William. Being loved by someone who sees you is oh so precious.